specializes in all kinds of CNC cutting, research and development of robot welding and automatic production line equipment. The following is to introduce the installation and debugging of gantry cutting machine. Installation of the frame on guide rail. 1. Open the rear cover of the main end frame and the switch mounting plate. Place the main end frame on the guide rail and adjust the motor abutment bolts to make the motor gear depart the rear rack. 2. By adjusting the eccentric wheel of the guide wheel group, the guide wheel is close to the guide rail. The degree of tightness is suitable for turning the guide wheel with a force of 5 kgm. 3. Push the main cabinet back and force to slide easily on the guide rail. 4. Open the cover of the auxiliary end frame. Place the negative end frame on the other set of guide rails. Loosen the motor against the spring and also disengage the gear from the guide rail. 5. By adjusting the eccentric wheel of the guide wheel group, the guide wheel is close to the guide rail. The method of determining its tightness is the same as that of the main end frame. 6. Push the secondary cabinet back and force to slide easily on the guide rail. 7. Put the main and auxiliary cabinets relative to each other and place the beams on the two cabinets. 8. Insert the connecting bolts between the cross beam and the cabinet, but do not tighten them. 9. Tighten the jacking bolts at the rear of the beam to ensure the verticality of the beam and the end frame, and then tighten the connecting bolts between the end frame and the beam. 10. Push the body back and forth, and the main body can move easily on the guide rails. Finally, the motor gears of the main and auxiliary cabinets are meshed with the racks of the guide rails, respectively, and the spring tightening force is adjusted to make the gears but the racks. The size of the tightening force is to pull the motor with a force of 5 kg outwards. It is advisable to disengage the gear from the rack. THC installing at machine crossbeam. 1. Hang the two rollers on the upper guide rail optical axis. Rotate the eccentric wheel at the lower part to make the eccentric wheel enter the guide rail optical axis at the lower part of the beam, and then adjust the eccentric wheel to make it close up. 2. One hand controls the hanging board so that it does not move, and the other hand turns the roller with force. It is better to turn the roller with a force of about 2 kgm. After adjusting the tight force, lock the eccentric shaft tightly. At this time, move the lifting body reciprocally along the guide rail of the beam to move easily and freely. 3. After the lifting body is installed, the gear of the transverse moving motor can be meshed with the rack on the beam. By adjusting the tightening spring to make the gear abut the rack, the amount of its abutment force is to press the motor down with a force of about 5 kg to make the gear get off the rack.